What's going on, you guys? This is Big Sim with Positive Warrior, and I wanted to go ahead and put out a video regarding the confusion and the business exchange between Ryan and Dan, right? Dan from Heavy Duty Country versus Ryan Upchurch. Now, before I get into this, I feel like both parties have put in an exchange of videos recounting their understanding of the events that took place, right? Or their version of the events that took place. And I feel like neither one of these content creators really explained exactly what happened and how Dan from Heavy Duty Country ultimately got screwed over or ultimately got stolen from, in my opinion. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try to dissect exactly what happened between Ryan Upchurch and Dan with this music controversy, right? Before, I gotta have a disclaimer. This is my opinion of my observation of events as I understand them, right? Taking from both videos and trying to put together the truth of the matter of what happened in this business transaction that went sour, that failed, right? In which there was some type of miscommunication. If you have an idea of events that happen separately, you can type it in the comment section below and tell me what you think, or make your own video in response to this video or another video entirely on your own channel. But this is my opinion of my observation of the way things happen, because nobody has gone ahead and really described these things it was more like verbal jousting between the two of these content creators, more so than really explaining what happened on both sides. And I think I have the truth, so we're going to dive right into this. And I'm going to try to make this as fast as possible because we got a lot of ground to cover. So sit back and eat your popcorn and let's get into it. All right. Ryan Upchurch and Dan from Heavy Duty Country are in contact with over the internet as friends. They exchange a few messages together. By and by, they start becoming kind of friendly with each other, and maybe they may have even hung out once, right? And Ryan says to Dan, hey, let's go ahead, let's hang out, just you, me, my girl. We'll go ahead, we'll rent a Lamborghini, hang out over at a racetrack, and we'll have just a gay old time. Be great, it'd be a lot of fun. So Dan, being Dan, he's gonna take that as an opportunity. When Ryan Upchurch invites you to go hang out with him, he's a man with 3 million subscribers on his way up to stardom. Yeah, he's gonna accept the offer. Makes sense. I would accept the offer if Ryan asked to hang out with me. So I can understand why Dan came to hang out with Ryan. And no, that's not him trying to go ahead and take advantage of Ryan. That's not him trying to go ahead and suckle Ryan's teeth. That's him trying to go ahead and accept an invitation, a gracious invitation from a celebrity, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? So he goes ahead, right, and they hang out, they have a great time, and during the time that they're hanging out, Dan shares with Ryan a song that he made that he's not very proud of. Ryan takes a look at Dan's song and says to him, hey, that's a great song. Why don't I put you in contact with my producer, and my producer will help you out, switch that song into a good way that, that'll make it a good song for you. You should get in contact with my producer. So on Ryan's word, Dan goes over to this producer, right, to go ahead and because that was who he recommended. And Ryan and Dan goes ahead and settles with a producer agreement of about $8,000, about $8,400 to go ahead and produce 5 songs. Now, at this point, I'm just going to go over what happened, and then I'm going to give my analysis. So at this point, what happened was Dan goes ahead and signs. He gives $4,191 to the producer. And the producer then, in turn, goes ahead and tells Dan to go ahead and look up from Samantha Beats or something like that, or something Beats, basically a library of generic beats to outline, to grow your song around, right? All these beats are generic. They're nothing original. You choose the outline, and we're going to go ahead with these 4 beats and build an original song around it, tweak it up a bit, and these will be your 5 songs that you paid, once again, $4,191 for, and that ultimately he's going to go ahead and pay $8,400 for, which is quite a bit of money, right? So when Dan finds this out, he's understandably upset, because Dan is trying to go ahead and he's trying to get not 4 generic beats, he's trying to get 5 original songs. And who could blame him? That's $8,000 of his money plus that he's being asked to spend. So when he finds out of their methodology, and I believe when he goes ahead to produce these recordings, right, in other words, to tweak these songs where they are finally can be recognized, these generic songs to be recognized as an original piece, the producer is nowhere to be found. He can't get in touch with the producer, and he can't get in touch with Ryan, right? So Dan from Heavy Duty wants his money back, right? So Dan wants his money back, right? And as soon as Dan wants his money back, right, I think the producer pulls out, and Ryan doesn't say anything. Ryan's nowhere to be found, and they all block him, right? So they block him, and they have his $4,191, and everybody blocks him, as he says, right? So now, in exchange for Dan's $4,191, Dan is stuck with 4 generic beats that he can do nothing with, right? Because they were never worked on, they were never produced, there was no vocals for them, and he's out $4,000, right? Because he can't even use those, right? So that's what happened, and I don't think that people understand that. I don't think that people get that Dan paid for 5 original songs, and what he got in exchange was 4 generic beats that were promised to be worked on that never got produced. And yet they still took his money. So here comes my analysis. First and foremost, I feel that as soon as Dan told the producer that he wanted his money back, he should have been refunded, right? Especially when they did not produce the music as they had promised him, right? Because they never went into production. He never got to be produced. There was no production that happened. They stole from Dan, and that's what I don't think that Dan really was able to communicate to us, right? Dan was stolen from. There's no 2 ways about it, right? And not only was he stolen from, they were asking $8,400 for him to play ball with them, and Dan understandably withheld half of that. He must have felt a little bit skeptical of the way they were doing things. Maybe he decided he was only going to pay half now and half later. That's understandable when doing business. I mean, I do that all the time. To put it into perspective, $4,000 is quite a bit of money, right? I myself just purchased a trailer for around it was $2,500 for a utility trailer. Very good deal, I'll admit. And so, you can see how that business exchange would not be, is stealing, right? That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money to lay down. That's a lot of money to talk about. So for Dan to only get half of what he asked, none of what he asked for, that's wrong. I don't think he described that well. I don't think he went ahead and he expressed that to everybody. I think that got lost in the communication, that he signed for 5 songs and he got 4 beats and no production. 4 beats, nothing for him to do about it. 4 beats that are effectively useless. Anybody can get them on the internet, right? That's called being stolen from. And there's one thing I cannot stand, is somebody that steals from somebody else. Now, here's the good news. the good news is, and this is something that I don't understand about Dan, is Dan keeps going after Ryan Upchurch when it's really Ryan Upchurch's producer, right? So this video should really be up against, Dan should be really beating down the door against Ryan Upchurch's producer. Why is Ryan didn't sign with Dan at all? Dan signed with Ryan's producer, who apparently does other work aside from working with Ryan, right? Having nothing to do with Ryan, zero to do with Ryan. Once again, Dan signs with Ryan's producer, and Ryan skips town because he's got nothing to do with that, right? Ryan has every right to skip town. He has every right not to answer his phone. And it goes further into it. I believe that Ryan is actually had agreed to work with Dan on some of the music, maybe, waltz into the producing studio, hum a few bars on some of the background vocals, maybe sing a few bars with Heavy Duty, something like that, out of the kindness of his heart, right? But Ryan was never signed on, right? He was never signed in, and Dan made a mention of this. He's like, when I think of signing with somebody, I mean signing with somebody, right? So what Dan meant in that, and I think what the confusion is that Dan believed he signed with Ryan. Dan, you never signed with Ryan. You signed with Ryan's producer, who works independently sometimes without Ryan. So that needed to be specified. Right? I understand that that's disappointing to you, that you didn't know that Ryan was only going to be a backup singer, maybe pro bono, maybe if he waltzed into the production studio with his pajamas one day. But that's the reality, Dan. This is, if you're seeing this is for you, just in case you don't understand. That said, for the producer to steal Dan's money and not give him what he paid for is dishonest. That's stealing, right? And that cannot be waived. That's still $4,191 that Dan won't get back, and that's wrong. We all have to agree that is wrong. That's the only person who lost here for real is Dan, who got $4,191 and in exchange got nothing. Now, how is that fair? How am I supposed to go ahead and sit here and just be like, oh yeah, that's cool. Let's just sweep Heavy Duty under the rug. Let's let him spend all this money. I run a business. If I go ahead, if I have a customer I don't like, I refund them their money. I said, okay, we're not going to do business then. And they, there's plenty of other businesses that you can call, and you can go with them. You don't need to go with us. Same thing with this producer. You don't need to go with that producer. They should have refunded him all his $4,000 and be like, all right, have a good day, and just out, but they didn't handle business correctly. They screwed him. They effed him over, right? They essentially stole from him is what they did. So I feel, in conclusion of this whole thing, I hope I've explained it. I think I've explained it a whole lot better than both of them, both of these content creators, and hopefully you guys can understand exactly why I stand with Dan from Heavy Duty Country, and why I also understand why Ryan is sort of like, what did I do? Because Dan was wronged, but he shouldn't be mad at Ryan so much as he should be mad at the producer, right? Because it's the producer who stole the money from him. It's not Ryan. Ryan ain't have nothing to do with it. Ryan just said, hey man, that's a cool dude, you should do business with him. So if anything, he should just be, mad at him for referring him to a shady dude, right? But that's about all the skin in the game that Ryan has in that business deal. Furthermore, Ryan doesn't have a single red cent to be made in Dan's whole signing of his producer. So of course Ryan doesn't care, because he's not signed on. He's not making a dollar from it. It's just pro bono. It's out of the kindness of Ryan's heart. So of course he's not making of course he's not caring. The only thing that I think that Dan is really confused with this whole thing is that he thought that Ryan was going to go ahead and sign on with him. And that was a mistake that Dan made. that was an easy miscommunication that they could have communicated with each other, been like, hey, as it turns out, Ryan is not signed on with this deal. He just had wanted to help you out of the kindness of his heart. So, Mr. Heavy Duty, I hope you understand that. If you don't understand that, and if you thought Ryan was going to be singing in all 5 songs with you, like Alvin and the Chipmunks or something, then here's your money back, because that's not what this is about. That's what should have happened. Instead, we got to deal with this. So they be going back and forth, and, you know, it's a little bit difficult to watch because I support them both. And you sort of get that when I'm talking, you know, that I sort of ride both sides. I understand Ryan's point of view, and I definitely understand Dan's point of view. But on this particular Business Insider situation, I'm going to roll with Dan, because Dan was the one who was stolen from. And that's just the bottom line. I hope I cleared up this situation, and I hope I made it all easy for you all to understand exactly what would transpire here and how Dan got screwed over.